Hi, welcome back. The next portion of this lesson is why design? Why design? Why do we do design, and what is the philosophy or logic behind design? Okay, so let's watch this video, the first secret of great design, all right, by this gentleman here, and you will find out later on. Please watch the video.
As human beings, we get used to everyday things really fast. As a product designer, it's my job to see those everyday things, to feel them, and try to improve upon them. For example, see this piece of fruit? See this little sticker? That sticker wasn't there when I was a kid. But somewhere as the years passed, someone had the bright idea to put that sticker on the fruit. Why? So it could be easier for us to check out at the grocery counter. Well, that's great. We can get in and out of the store quickly. But now there's a new problem. When we get home and we're hungry and we see this ripe, juicy piece of fruit on the counter, we just want to pick it up and eat it. Except now we have to look for this little sticker and dig at it with our nails, damaging the flesh. Then rolling up that sticker, you know what I mean, and then trying to flick it off your fingers, right? It's not fun, not at all. But something interesting happened. See, the first time you did it, you probably felt those feelings. You just wanted to eat the piece of fruit, but you felt upset. You just wanted to dive in. By the 10th time, you started to become less upset, and you started to just do the peeling the label off. By the 100th time, at least for me, I became numb to it. I simply picked up the piece of fruit, dug at it with my nails, tried to flick it off, and then wonder, was there another sticker? So why is that? Why do we get used to everyday things? Well, as human beings, we have limited brain power. And so our brains encode the everyday things we do into habits, so we can free up space to learn new things. It's a process called habituation, and it's one of the most basic ways as humans we learn. Now, habituation isn't always bad. Remember learning to drive? I sure do. Your hands clenched at 10 and 2 on the wheel, looking at every single object out there, the cars, the lights, the pedestrians, is a nerve-wracking experience. So much so that I couldn't even talk to anyone else in the car, and I couldn't even listen to music. But then something interesting happened. As the weeks went by, driving became easier and easier. You habituated it. It started to become fun and second nature. And then you could talk to your friends again and listen to music. So there's a good reason why our brains habituate things. If we didn't, we'd notice every little detail all the time. It would be exhausting, and we'd have no time to learn about new things. But sometimes habituation isn't good. If it stops us from noticing the problems that are around us, well, that's bad. And if it stops us from noticing and fixing those problems, well, then that's really bad.
Right, welcome back from the video from Tony, sorry. It's a little sticker on the apple that gives us a lot of thought. And there's this word that he used, habitation. It's like habits that we do. And sometimes because we are so used to it that we don't find that they become a design issue. But if we were to look into our lives every single day, especially at this juncture here in the COVID-19 environment, yeah, there are many things that we adopted as new habits. And maybe these are some things that we can become a problem in our lives. And these are things that we can solve. Right, let's watch this video on what is human-centered design and have a look at it, and then we will discuss more.
What is human-centered design, and why does it matter? Also known as design thinking and user-centered design, human-centered design puts people at the core of its products and programs. It's about designing with, and not just for the end user, aiming to truly meet the needs of the beneficiary, customer, or client. Just another buzzword? Let's break down exactly what human-centered design is and why it matters for the global development community. Human-centered design has its origins in the private sector, in fields like user interface design and human-computer interaction. While the development community has long recognized the need for more participatory approaches, the sector still receives criticism for designing for problems instead of designing for people. But what does it mean to design for people? Before creating a solution, development professionals must thoroughly understand the problem by engaging with communities and individuals, spending time with them, listening to their concerns, and understanding the specifics of their lives. This process involves the rigorous collection of qualitative data, which is turned into deep insights about a target audience and then is used to design a set of workable, personalized, data-driven solutions for each specific community or country. This means it's inherently built from what works in a given context, instead of trying to adapt an existing solution to fit unique circumstances. The next stage of human-centered design is prototyping. Prototyping is about getting ideas into the community to get active participation. Organizations can create a rough prototype that is introduced into the community for feedback and further refined into a pilot. This may seem like a lot of work before you begin to implement a solution. What makes it worth it? Development practitioners are already harnessing this approach at international organizations like UNICEF, philanthropic ventures like the Gates Foundation, and private sector development companies like Chemonics. Here are some benefits that they have shared. 1. It checks assumptions. Human-centered design helps organizations develop and build on new and ambitious ideas, rather than dismissing them out of hand before they have a chance to prove their worth. 2. It helps us cut waste. Human-centered design is a process that, if executed well, can drastically change the way we use and spend resources. 3. It helps us forge new partnerships. Human-centered design brings together different types of thinkers and makers, people who bring different disciplinary perspectives, cultural understandings, and creative abilities. Above all, it pushes us to get into a project with questions, rather than catch-all solutions. As human-centered design becomes more commonplace in global development, here are a couple things to remember as you apply it to your work. First, have a solid grasp of what human-centered design is before deciding that it's the right methodology for you. Do your research and look thoughtfully within your organization or project to understand if and how human-centered design could add value. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Rather, there may be elements of human-centered design that can complement and support what you're already doing, and other elements that are less relevant or too resource-intensive. Human-centered design is new to our community. Applying the method takes a shift in mindset. Be open, give it a try, and let us know how it works for you. Are you using human-centered design in your work? Share your...
Now, what is human-centered design? This picture shows there are 3 ways to walk to your HDB block. The one on the left, the one on the right. Now, and if you look at it further down, there's a little one that is, on the left path, there's a little one that goes to the right again. Why are these paths being created? Is there a reason and why people take shortcuts in life, right? Maybe you can start thinking about it. Now, given 3 options, if you are to be cycling and you're going to walk your way back, or if you're cycling, so which path would you use, A, B, or C? If you're like a cyclist myself, I would take actually the path C, because why? Along the pavement is actually much easier to get back to your block, and now there are some there are those slopes that you can actually go up easier. Path B is actually blocked with that 2 metal poles in the center. It actually prevents, you have to slow down to navigate through, then you can go safely. Obviously, path A is meant for pedestrians, so we will try to avoid that. But in the middle of the night, it's actually quite safe. So think about this. Which one would you choose, and the reason why? Now, here is another drawing of the actual map that shows our MRT tracks. And then we have another 2. You can have a look at it. And there's a new proposed redesign. So have a look at that and consider which is actually a better drawing. Can you relate to this drawing or this picture? I find this picture very cute. It is actually taking from both points of view. Either you're viewing it from the parents or you're viewing it from the baby. Now, of course, the parents will find it entertaining to see the various animals going round and round, hopefully with music to entertain the child. But as a baby, you realize that your point of view is totally different from that of the parents. Of course, at the end of the day, who is enjoying the view, I leave that to your own judgment. But sometimes this picture shows me that, yeah, having that point of view is very important. All right, are you looking from the point of view as a designer, or you're looking at a point of view of the end user? And for design, we try to always look at the viewpoint of the end user, because this is more important. The end user could be you yourself, and your how you use it every day, and the feelings that and emotions that you use. Imagine what Tony was saying about the Apple sticker. All right, the sticker on the apple. All right, now. So when we try to do the design, we try to break down, and we have this thing called the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, and why. And of course, if you ask yourself, which 3 are the more important? All right, so the answer is who, what, and why. Because we want to know who the end user are, and we want to know what problems do they face, and why do they face these issues, and why is the reason that they feel in that way. So these are very important questions we need to answer. All right, so you can see we want you to do your research, basically give us the context of the problem, the end user, their environment, why is it so, and perhaps even examples of products that you can think, similar products that is used, so that you can actually take a reference from there. Either you can borrow it, or you can take a reference from there. So these are things that we want you to do research later on in your work. It's an instruction of how you can actually attach your file to SLS. Hopefully, this juncture, everyone should be very clear on how to do so.